Kenya initiative. Thus far, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has recovered process of corruption and stolen public assets to the tune of Kenya shillings 28 billion, comprising of cash, movable and immovable properties, and other belongings. The government is keen on providing a stronger legal framework and adequate budgetary allocation to the graft watch dogs and to effectively undertake their constitutional mandate and to slay the dragon of corruption. On human rights and fundamental freedoms, the government is deeply concerned about the safety and human rights of all Kenyans. In this regard, the National Police Service has reported that during the June and July 2024 protests, 495 police officers and 347 civilians were injured, with another 42 Kenyans unfortunately losing their lives. And this is the official statistics. We do acknowledge the tragic circumstances and confirm that the DCI continues to investigate any disappearances, even as the Independent Policing Oversight Authority remains focused in identifying and addressing any excesses on the side of police. The government is committed to ensuring justice and the respect of human rights and fundamental freedoms, and it will not hesitate to take necessary actions to uphold all of them and to hold anybody accountable. On NHIF, faith-based hospitals and government commitments, the government is actively addressing the historical NHIF debts, including the Kenya shillings 19 billion owed to healthcare providers. This is a debt of 10 years. And as of now, we have already disbursed 5.05 billion, with faith-based hospitals, including the Catholic hospitals, receiving Kenya shillings 938 million. And further, an additional 2.5 billion is scheduled for disbursement in the next few days. The government assures that these pending bills will be cleared, allowing the healthcare providers to continue serving our people effectively. As we are very committed to the better plan, we are also equally devoted to ensure that each and every promise that we make is realized, and that if people think that it is yet to be done, it's because we are in the midterm. And even when you have a child who is in midterm, you cannot say you now have the report card at the end of the term. The child is still in school. We are only in power for about 2 years. So those of people who are saying it's about lies, no, it's not lies, it's work in progress. We are also selling you our vision. We are telling you what we are intending to do and what we have been able to accomplish. So I think that is something that we need to do between what is and what ought to be. We are making very good progress in securing the legacy of President William Ruto, especially with regards to the 5 pillars of the better plan. In this regard, about universal health care, through the shift to shift, issues of medical bills will permanently be resolved, and that this program will permanently transform the provision of healthcare services to ensure all Kenyans have access to preventable, promotive, palliative, and curative care. And as a result, over 14 million Kenyans have been enrolled in SHIF, and over 60 million, over 60% of employers have also been enrolled. This is a positive feedback on the success of this new medical scheme, and it actually negates what the naysayers and pundits have been saying about it. We therefore, as government, urge all Kenyans who have not registered in SHIF to shift to SHIF through *147# or https www.sha.go.ke and also Aviami, so that you can benefit. And as I said earlier, I have actually benefited personally at a family level. On the proposed extension of tenure of elected leaders, there is nothing like that. This is dead on arrival, because this was a bill that was privately sponsored by Senator Samson Cherargei, who I was privileged to serve with in the last Senate, and it was thus not a government-sponsored bill. and the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and Human Rights of the Senate did not okay the bill, and so it will not and cannot proceed. We thus urge the Catholic bishops, respectfully, and all other stakeholders to verify information carefully to avoid sensationalism, misinformation and disinformation, and generalizations and assumptions about proposed pieces of legislation in the country. And we are saying this because a lot of lies were told around the finance bill, which had some of the most progressive proposals in June, leading to its demise. So we cannot countenance a situation where this happens again. The government is committed to upholding the spirit and letter of the Constitution and believes in regular elections as demanded by the Constitution to hold leaders to account. On taxation and revenue-raising measures, the government recognizes the importance of a balanced and fair tax regime and is reviewing measures to ensure that the burden on ordinary Kenyans is reduced. The government is working towards reform to make the tax system equitable while meeting the obligations to fulfill the national agendas as enshrined in the Kenya Vision 2030 and the MTP4. The proposed tax reforms aim at achieving a fair and equitable tax system, including provision of justified tax amnesty and a reduction in tax expenditures to channel more resources towards essential public services. The reforms expand the digital tax base to include ride-hailing, food delivery, freelance, and other professional services, ensuring digital service providers also contribute fairly to the economy. So if you are ordering food, and then you are charged more, I think that's fair. If you are taking an Uber, that's just, and it's such a manner that they are the ones to pay, and they should not pass on that to the consumer or to the customer. Additionally, a significant economic presence tax will be levied on income from non-resident entities in Kenya, digital marketplace. And you should understand why we are saying this, because now the digital marketplace is borderless. It is not within the confines of geographical borders. So if you have a digital presence significantly here in Kenya and you are an American company or a UK company or any other company, you should be able to pay tax. And that is actually verifiable because you have the market share. So please pay so that we can help the country to move forward. And this is an international best practice. It's not just Kenya which does so. These changes are part of the Tax Laws Amendments Bill 2024 and other related bills reflecting a broad public input designed at enhancing tax compliance and revenue collection. The rejection of 2024 finance bill occasioned the loss of Kenya shillings 346 billion in projected revenue, and the government must innovatively look for alternative means to finance the national budget. The government has resorted to partnerships with bilateral and multilateral partners, such as the IMF, who recently gave us Kenya shillings 17.3 billion extended credit facility (ECF) to bolster our fiscal and climate resilience, and this was negotiated in 2021 for your information, and this was the 7th and 8th disbursement, and Kenya shillings 34 billion facility from China to help build roads, especially in rural areas. Additionally, the government is exploring opportunities under the Public-Private Partnership (PPPs) arrangement as a lawful and viable alternative to development financing. And this is anchored in law, because I heard the Catholic Bishop saying, questioning the law. It's very well anchored in law. The Nairobi Expressway and the Nairobi-Mombasa SGR project are among the key projects that have been financed through PPP arrangements before. The Kaishan Group recently invested Kenya shillings 12 billion in the 35 megawatt or power 22 geothermal power plant at Menengai, Nakuru County, and we invest another 12 billion in a PPP arrangement to establish sustainable green ammonia production in the next 24 months. So we are missing out on a lot of investments as a result of this resistance. The Adani Group is also investing 95 billion shillings to build and operate 3 new transmission lines and 2 substations in the country. These billions would have been borrowed and the burden passed to Kenyans, but they are now investments for the general public, including the dualling of the Nairobi Summit all the way. That is also another project of about 150 billion or more. The government is committed to implementing policies that not only address current fiscal needs, but also aimed at strengthening our national economic foundations for the future. These measures are balanced in ensuring a sustainable public debt to GDP ratio, because we know very well it was actually at 73, but now it has reduced to 68. Very commendable, because we have been able to reduce it by 5%. Our goal is to develop an economy that relies more on robust domestic revenue rather than on foreign debt. On education system and university funding, the Ministry of Education remains committed to the success of the competence-based curriculum and has invested in its rollout, including the construction of over 16,000 classrooms and the recruitment of a record 56,950 teachers. We have ensured that the Higher Education Student-Centered New University Funding Model, the NFM, is responsive to students' financial needs, with over 41 billion shillings disbursed since 2023 to support universities proportionately. The government affirms that these efforts are ongoing to improve and sustain the education sector, which serves over 11 million learners across Kenya. On youth employment, the Kenya Kwanza government promised to create employment opportunities to Kenyans, and we have remained innovative in this effect, getting opportunities for citizens locally and abroad. The number of Kenyans of 105,367 have benefited from job opportunities abroad in the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain, amongst other nations. The government is also finalizing bilateral negotiations with other countries to expand our labor export market beyond our traditional destinations, and these active destinations are in the sunset stages that include Russia, Poland, and Jordan. And of course, you know, recently we had a negotiation in Germany. In fact, as we speak, Dr. Alfred Mutua has already rolled out a program to go Mashinani, my predecessor.